All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday night People in the Boxes, episode 151 tonight. And it is Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, 8 o'clock Central Time. I think I accidentally labeled this at 10 o'clock. That's okay. We're live, 8 o'clock Central Time, and we're going to be playing a little intro, about 3.5 minutes. If you guys could help us out, hit some likes and tags and shares. And you can get in on the door prize a little later, and we'll be right back. Let's grow.
Turn up to the sound of green. The Indoor Farmer Reviews, a podcast supreme. Episode by episode, wisdom he unfurls. At Indoor Farmer, changing our world. From comedy nights to what is bolting, each review, each tale keeps us all jolting. The Indoor Farmer Reviews, it's the show to hear. Learn to grow, laugh and cheer. With every upload, a new chapter to read. From the seeds of doubt to the bounty of need, he shares his journey, his trials, his love, for the soil beneath and the sky above. From comedy nights to what is bolting, each review, each tale keeps us all jolting. The Indoor Farmer Reviews, it's the show to hear. Learn to grow, laugh and cheer.
Voices echo through the walls so thin, trapped in squares where the stories begin. Whispers rise from the shadows deep, secrets these boxes swear to keep. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Cube holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Cages or a stage to stand, a prison built by a human hand. Voices clash, then they blend as one. In the boxes, the journey's begun. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. I hear their sound, lost in seeking yet profound. People in the boxes near and far, shining out like a guiding star. Voices echo through the walls so thin, trapped in squares where the stories begin. Whispers rise from the shadows deep, secrets these boxes swear to keep. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Every cube holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Or a stage to stand, a prison built by a human hand. Voices clash, then they blend as one in the boxes. The journey's begun. People in the boxes, souls on display. Fighting in the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. Every cage is or a stage to stand, a prison built by a human hand.
All right, we're back. We're back. We're here. It's time. 8:06 Central Time now. July 3rd. July 3rd, the day before our Independence Day. It's the day before the weekend, the holiday, the one of the biggest ones, I think. And we're going to talk a little bit tonight about. So someone had brought up, I believe it was Bean actually, that brought up some connection to this with gaming and in general, and a lot of the different things with video gaming. And I think we've talked a little bit about that before, and we've touched a little bit on, we've done VR, but we haven't really talked about how there's a big push to a lot of companies are now getting on board to gamify things. Gamify. Now, we actually do that. A lot of people do that in their everyday life, and we're going to get into that. Like how we've done it for a long time, how we did it without realizing it, turning things into a game to get yourself to get through it easier, but we got Kim with us. Kim is tired. She's down there in the heat and then just working her fingers to the bone at the new house and just ready for a break. So I'm glad you came though. You're muted. Let me unmute you. You had an echo earlier for some reason. It was echoing the intro. Okay, now you got to unmute on your side. There it goes.
It actually hasn't been too hot here this last week. We've had a lot of rain and hail and stuff like that. It's been cooler, but tomorrow it's supposed to be close to 100, and then Saturday and Sunday it's supposed to be like above 100. So
it just depends on the kind of humidity that you have, I guess. 100.
We usually don't have humidity, but we do have a traditional monsoonal flow that we haven't had in several years. So usually this time of the year we get monsoonal flows with the hurricanes that come up out of Mexico on the California side of Mexico.
Hurricanes coming into the Atlantic, and I mean the Pacific. The Pacific.
Is it Pacific over there? I don't know. It's up like
sure.
Whatever the ocean is that comes up the Baja, that side. Not necessarily up in the Baja, but like that southern part below the Baja. A lot of hurricanes will hit on that side. And when they do, when it hits in that area of the ocean or that area of Mexico, we get a monsoonal flow. So we've had a traditional monsoonal flow. Like I said, we haven't had a monsoonal flow like that in several years. It's been very dry.
Was it because of El Nino?
I think we're having a La Nina this year.
La Nina?
Because there's El Nino is the little boy and La Nina is the little girl. And one of them causes dry and the other one causes wet. And I think it's La Nina that causes it to be more moisture. I don't know. I can't remember for sure.
That sounds some weird connotations going on there. I don't know what's going on. It's like, who could we just...
El Nino is a child in Spanish. A Nino is
I can get that, but
and a niña is a female child.
Well, I knew what they were in Portuguese,
Yeah, well,
uh,
Portuguese is a Latinate language, which is
but
Spanish
they're
is
not the same though.
no.
I mean the term for kids. Anyway, so let's get into it. I don't know if anyone else is going to come up and join us on screen, but you all are welcome. Anybody that wants the link, I did put the link out on Facebook. I can put it on the Rumble side too. Yeah, we want to hear from you guys. You might not think this is important, but the the issue is that, okay, so with AR, which is augmented reality, which is there's a bunch of different companies coming out with goggles and glasses, different things like that, where you can wear them, and some of them are just big and bulky, just not practical yet. I think they're the Apple goggles. I forget what they're called, but they're super heavy on people's heads. But you wear them and you can look around in reality in your room, and they can, basically it can put things up in your view as if it's, in putting inserting it into reality, but it's just the glasses you're wearing. Now with the advent of that, the term gamify has taken on a whole nother level. But I want to just explain what it means in real simple terms. And I'm pretty sure all of us have done this. As a kid, you're told to do chores, and you're throwing stuff away, and you're pretending like it's a basketball hoop, and you're like 2 points, 3 points, or let's see, you and your sibling, let's see how many bags of leaves you can fill, and I'll see how many I can fill, and you make it, you turn it into a game. That's what gamify means. It means take something that is work that you might not want to do, and you kind of create a game around it to incentivize yourself to do the game. And I would argue social media is completely gamified, um, with all the dings and all the, like, so almost every app on your phone is gamified because they've all been told by the consultants and by history now, the last 20 years or so, seeing what works on these apps, what works on the apps, bright colors and touching this and notification that, and oh this and ding ding, and you're getting, and then you get points for doing certain things, right? Facebook gives you all sorts of like hoops to jump through to do the weekly challenges. They give you challenges all the time. So that's gamifying. That's taking, and so if you don't pay attention, if you don't know what's happening, if you don't know what's happening to you, then your company could be going, oh hey, we get a pizza party at the end of the month if you guys get so many sales or whatever it is. Like that's incentivizing, but they can go a step further and try to like get you on every little step you make and judge you on it. Like I used to be judged on every little thing, being security at the hospital, like how many uh, rounds we went, how many doors we checked, all this stuff. They keep track of all of it. It's like stats. It's like stats of a player on a baseball card, But your job is keeping all those stats. Like, how good of an employee is Kim? Like, let's look at how many kids she made cry this month. I don't know. Hey, Ronaldo, what's up, man? Over on the locals. Kind of a slow night on the internet tonight. Appreciate you guys coming in. Hit that like button and share it out with a friend if you would. Let's see what happens when I pull up the banner that says 30 likes will unlock the door prize. Man, I was sick yesterday. I was not feeling good when I was sick during my show. I had to end the show really early, like probably half or more of the show. I had to end early because I started getting really nauseous and not feeling well. So I did sleep a lot. I feel better. Something I ate. Something I ate. I won't get into why I deduced that, and and like and how it all came to be. But yeah, I had a little one of those 24-hour things, and I'm pretty sure it was something that I cooked the night before. And yeah, anyway, is what it is. What's that, Ronaldo? Oh, dice. Okay, you rolled a one. You rolled a one. Does it roll different numbers, Ronaldo? Bro, that's pretty cool. I wonder if that's is that like a random number roller in the chat? See, he's gamifying it. And so we've also gamified the live streams. A lot of people now, there's plenty of podcast hosts out there, live stream hosts that don't do that. But me offering a giveaway, if you guys tag enough people in, and if you get to a certain number of people or whatever, that's kind of gamifying things, right? And that's why I made the game show on Sundays, is because I wanted to gamify the giveaways and the appreciation that I want to show back to my subscribers. I was like, let's make it a game, right? Let's have fun. Let's have a competition and stuff. And so competition's fun. Competition's good. But man, can you imagine the increase in productivity that they will get out of you at work if you get this, like an image on your glasses that like shows like a coin or something. Cha-ching, you've earned another, you know, 20-minute break, or you've earned whatever, a few more, like some more money on your paycheck. And every time you do whatever that thing is that they want you to do, that gives you that incentive, and you're going to do more, you're going to do it more. And that's kind of in a roundabout way how I feel about social media, but it's not so direct. Like, Kim, can you name anything that you've gamified, turn into a game, like you know, at a job or even at home? Like, how many of these can I do in an hour? How many, like, even as a kid, maybe not as an adult as much, but it does work for adults too. They've shown that gamifying things will increase productivity. Have you seen anything on this? What do you think? Give me something.
We there's a lot of apps and programs out there, educational apps and programs that are games to get kids to do stuff. I can't think of the name. I think it's called Look It. Is one that we used last year in the ELA classes. That it there's a variety of like different games that you can choose to do, and it's like a review of previously learned concepts about like nouns and verbs and parts of speech and shit like that. They have, I don't know, there's a bunch of, I can't think of anything right now because
No, that's an excellent point, though.
they don't really, I don't really use, I've never really used a lot of those things because I don't know, it really bothers me the way that we're using
Well, take
entertainment.
tech out of it. Take tech out of
Well,
it. Have you
it's
ever
not
done it on
even
a?
the tech, it's the entertainment stuff. It's like, I don't
We have
know.
to be entertained while we're doing everything now. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
and I think it's terrible for like kids' stamina and their ability to focus and stuff like that.
that, and it is an addiction. It's the dopamine that we're getting from a lot of things,
Yeah.
that when we are being supercharged with it all the time, all day, whether that's at your job, being incentivized, or on the phone with all these apps, that dopamine level just gets blown up so much. And then if you were to just stop, sit down on your couch, stop, put your phone down, and no TV, no nothing, just just kind of think for yourself, it feels so boring and so slow, like nothing's happening. Where's the dopamine coming? And so people can't just stop and like have a quiet moment to themselves anymore because of it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so I'm just not a big fan of all of that stuff. Like I like games. I'm competitive. Like I'm not ugly competitive. Like I'm not a
Really,
no, I'm
I
not.
feel like maybe you've been pretty competitive, yeah.
Well, I am competitive, but I'm not ugly competitive and I don't like being ugly competitive. I prefer to my way of looking at things rather than and it's not anything it's not like a conscious choice, it's just how I am. So let's say somebody is doing something and it interests me. It's like I don't want to get in there and compete with that person like, "Oh, I can do it better." My
Right.
mentality is, oh, that interests me. I want to do that as well as anybody else can do it, kind of a thing. Like individual sports, I'm not so much like, I don't have that killer instinct for individual sports. I like to play team sports, but I want us all to do well. So I don't know, I'm just different. I'm built differently than a lot
Well,
of
but
people.
you know what I mean about the chores, though. Do you have siblings?
I was not raised with anybody. I was like an
Hmm.
only child. They were all adults by the time I
I
came
guess you can do
along.
that as a single person, as one kid, going, okay, let me see how many of this is, how many of
No,
that.
I'm competitive. I compete against myself all the time. Like I
Right.
push myself to be better, and
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think
I
you just
think
have to
that
be careful with.
comp-
Go
well,
ahead.
you got to be careful not to take it overboard.
Right, not to be too critical.
Yeah, and not to like compare yourself with other people because,
I'm very critical of myself, and I've been working on being a little more positive in that regard, because sometimes you can't. And I mean, even think about any competition, games or no games, you defeat yourself if you can't keep your mind in the right mindset, because there is something to be said about that overwhelming kind of you get natural dopamine and adrenaline and everything when you're in that zone, and like thinking that you're gonna do well. And if you take yourself out of that zone and make assumptions, oh, I'm not going to be as good, oh, I have this injury, then you're just gonna just lose it. And I found that a lot of times in sports, but I never thought about it outside of sports really. But it works in your everyday life. I mean, you can't just sit here and go, well, I'll never do anything. You're not going to get anything done. And I have that problem a lot. We've talked about it on the show before. The very first episode of the show was about PTSD. So if you ever want to go back and look at the episode one and find out like my story on what I went through on in Iraq and all that good stuff, I talk about it on the episode one. But so I struggle with it on a daily basis, like critical. Oh no, back off from that, and then critical. So I think that, getting back to gamifying in general, if we were to take a workplace, like say an Amazon warehouse, I could see productivity going up, but the problem is that's going to be more fuel for the company to go after you if you're underperforming as well. Which honestly, I don't see a problem with that, as long as they don't, like, I hate this thing. You ever worked retail before? Have you ever worked retail? They say they use this term LY, meaning last year.
yep,
Last year, right? Last year. Well, how
they
much was
want you to do
LY?
as well or better. They want
Right.
you to project your what they think your. I worked at Target. I was a manager of Target when I right after I finished with my bachelor's degree. I really needed kind of a break before I started my master's. Or no, I started my master's, but I needed a break because it was like, I don't know, I'd just been doing school. So for about a year, and I hated it. I hated retail. I do not like retail. It is, I don't know, they work you to death. They'll pay you a good salary, but they fucking bleed you dry. You work yourself to death in retail, and it's not worth it to me. So, but yeah, I worked in retail, and they had um, so the store we opened was brand new. There was no Targets here in our community, so we didn't have a previous year to fall on. I can't remember where they took the numbers from, but they had like a thing above the doorway where all the team members came through every day. All the workers came through every day, and it had our goals. And then when we were open for more than a year, then they would say, this is last year, this is what we made last year, and our goal is to increase to whatever. So, I doing stuff like that is a mixed sword because you're going to get some people that are so overly competitive that they will try to win by hook or by crook, or it becomes like obsessive and unhealthy. And I think that there's some ethical stuff behind that really bothers me. Like, I think it's good to have healthy competition, but I think if you work for a company where it fosters an environment where people's mental health or physical health or whatever is jeopardized, I just don't feel like that's necessarily a good thing.
And I think that's what companies do in general by comparing, uh, like all not comparing. Like you should compare, and you should have like a standard, but by always wanting more than you got last year out of the employee. Like you can't just keep doing that. It kind of reminds me of my freaking escrow and mortgage and stuff. You think like I haven't had a house that long, and these are things that you fantasize about when you don't have a house. It's like, oh, I'll have this lower payment. It'd be great. I'll save up some of the extra money for repairs. But they don't. But no one talks about how the price of the house goes up every year. Like your monthly costs go up every year. Like the escrow goes up, the mortgage gets sold to another company, and then they're able to negotiate it to go up at the selling point. And there's all these little sneaky little things. And the same thing with a company. They want to increase the requirements, or they a lot of times will, if you have too much making too much money at a company, they will change something up in order to make you obsolete or ineligible, and so that they can hire a new employee at a much lower rate, right? Because they have less experience, they can require less amount. It's one of those things that if they were to make everybody have to wear like new technology, that's going to be another way to get some of the people that have been there a long time out, because they're going to be generally older people that aren't going to be as easy to adapt. And if they think they can get the same amount of productivity by gamifying things and just shoving, dopamine in people's faces, they'll do it. And we talked a little bit about the Neuralink before, but I'm sure that will come into play when they're talking about like getting more productivity out of people at work. Hey, what's
Yeah.
up, Chris? One thing I heard that's kind of scary is that when more and more companies use AI, or let AI run their infrastructure, it's going to be come to this point where you have a job, but you have no idea what it is. You're just told, Kim, go down to this corner and pick up this thing from this guy and take it 3 blocks over to this other guy, right? You'll get an app. It'll be an app that's gamified. It's like you get $50 if you do this, ding ding, and all the dopamine, everything's hitting you. And then so there'll be like this AI like hive being that's running everything, but we will all be like this cog in its machine, or single celled organisms basically, that are moving around, and the AI will know why we're doing what we're doing, but we won't. So for instance, you walking down and taking an item from like 4 blocks, you're like, I don't know, here you go, thanks, $50. But the AI knows that it's faster to have someone who lives nearby go pick it up and carry it versus waiting for a specific type of delivery vehicle that would take longer or whatever. And so the AI can actually, work all that out as long as it doesn't, implode on itself in the meantime. There's so many problems with that. AI, like learning from its own flawed stuff. It's AI learning from flawed AI, and I don't know how that's going to turn out. But if we're talking about efficiency and companies trying to make things more productive, then you better believe it'll be AI. AI will be like, at 2 o'clock in the morning, hey, we need you to, make this phone call until I don't know. It'll be like weird things happening. You'll just be like it'll be like Uber or what's the DoorDash and stuff. You'll have an app that'll be your job. It'll be like job app, and you'll be told, where to go, when to do it, and yeah, kind of an interesting thought, because over time, people who are younger will be brought up in the technology, more used to the technology, just like we've seen in everything else, and then they'll just be brought up like, for one, not knowing what it means to drive a car. Oh, I don't know. What do you mean? That's not a thing I ever had to deal with. And then they'll also be not even really like, they won't care what the job is. They'll just be like making money on an app and doing random like odd jobs and weird things. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Stuff is coming out. There's a lot of AI that it works against each other. There's a bunch of competing AIs. Um, but the core of Gamify though is something that you can do just by yourself, saying, I'm going to see how fast I can rake these leaves, or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to see, like, give yourself a challenge that kind of gives you some kind of point system, and that's kind of what Gamify is on a small, like on a basic level. I'm going to look into it though. Let's look up if any companies are doing this yet.
Did you see in the news today, I think it was today, where somebody made an album and it's all AI, like a music album and it's all AI
I
music
I easily have an album of AI music by now. I've got like 30 songs.
for sale.
That's up to someone if someone decides to buy it. I mean, that's on them.
I don't know. I just think I don't know. They're trying to get rid of humans.
Yeah, I mean, but what if let's imagine for a moment a uh, peaches and cream scenario where AI is somehow able to take over all of the menial tasks, all of the tasks that we don't want to do, and then leaves us to do all of the things that we would want to do, like, you know, sightseeing and, hiking and camping and sports and even stuff less active like art and handmade projects and like what if it creates a scenario where we're able to just do other things. Like, I don't ever see a scenario where people don't get paid to do jobs no matter what it is. Like, if AI gets that good, we're going to end up pushing further out into space, and you'll end up having people getting sent all over the place, and that's where people's jobs will be. I don't know. I think the better technology gets, the more likely it is that we can expand out into space a little bit more. And
I'll
if we
probably be dead by then. So
That's fine, but think about it. We think we have too many people here, but honestly, if we start making trips back and forth to Mars and say one every 10 gets destroyed or whatever, like, we're gonna use a lot of people. Think about the railroad, or think about the oceans back in the day, first sailing the oceans, trying to traverse the oceans. We lost a lot of people trying to figure those things out, and that's the same thing's going to happen in space, I believe. Not that I want to lose people, but I think it's a price that humanity pays in order to figure out a new thing. The atomic bomb, the electricity killed a lot of people when we first were messing around with it. Like, anything that's worth advancing is going to kill a lot of people, unfortunately. I don't know if gamifying things would kill a lot of people, but you might think about the way Pokemon Go. So Pokemon Go gamified exercise. It gamified walking, and people were walking into traffic. People were walking into private property. People were, going into like trespassing places that they could get shot, um, just to try and get that Pokemon. But I think used in the right settings, it can be good. It's just Pokemon Go was literally everywhere. It's literally anywhere. But you touched on this earlier, Kim. The educational side of things. So my cover photo had kids wearing, look like VR goggles, but gamifying education could be really beneficial, but also we already talked about how that there could be some downsides to that. But can you imagine gamifying the kids, like, learning?
well, they're already doing that.
Yeah, but, like,
Not to a humongous degree, but they're doing that in
you're right.
classes.
You're right. Like, with worksheets and things, with points, with hell, with
Well, it
grades,
isn't
the
even
grading
just
scale.
worksheets. Like there's a lot of like technology that does all of that stuff. There's a lot of platforms.
The grading scale kind of does that. It gives you points, and it gives you a way to, like, compare yourself, compete with others. You got your GPA and stuff like that. It's basically already a point system to grade yourself, which would be similar as gaming. Interesting. That's why I'm not down with Elon. I'm waiting till the aliens come back and pick me up. What, Chris? Bring us one step closer to being cattle. What would? The gaming? Jess, what's up? Says, but I'm not gonna be up late. Okay, well, send me your schedule privately, and I'll memorize it. It's all right, Jess. It's okay. Only 3 people over there on Facebook. That's because other people decided to go live at the same time as me. I shouldn't be upset about it. Why would I be upset about that? How online platforms are gamifying mobile bill payments? 7 simple ways to gamify your e-learning. How to gamify your training. The secret to gamify your life like a fantasy character. Gamify your life like a fantasy character. Okay. I played Pokemon Go. Yeah, I did, Chris. I worked in a hospital at the time, so I was able to get all these, you know, special Pokemon because Pokemon was able to or allowed like the good stuff to be shown up at the hospitals because of kids who were stuck at hospitals and not able to go anywhere. So let's look at the definition, I guess, first. This dictionary definition page includes all possible meanings. Okay. Not seeing any definitions here. Where's the definition?
I don't see.
Oh, maybe it's
probably not like a real word. It's probably just like, I don't know, a made up word or
well,
slang.
yeah, it's slang for
You might
sure.
find it in like the Urban Dictionary or something like that.
Oh, here you go. Stands. Oh, what the heck? Yeah, this isn't what I need. The best way to get us to pay attention might be through that little screen in the palm of our hands. The pandemic has slurred us to do, or has spurred us to do just about everything through our smartphones. Yeah, but I don't think smartphones are going to be the be all end all. We're going to be wearing goggles on our heads or in our brains, and it's going to be right there in our frontal cortex. It says, and as consumers, the concept of free and rewards and redeemable points may make consumers perk up a bit as they navigate economic headwinds. Honestly, I am sick of all of that. I am getting so over, like, I never liked that stuff where you could mail in for a rebate or you could save these points and get these rewards. And look, I get it. Some of those deals are really good, but I can't pay attention to all of those things. Like my Cash App card gets some kind of special deals at certain restaurants and certain stores, and I don't even know which stores. Like, I guess that's my fault for not memorizing all these things. But you have the Kroger Plus card, the this card, the this Plus card. Every company has their rewards cards now, where they incentivize you to do extra things on certain days. I'm so sick of this Kroger app. The Kroger app they want you to use the app in order to get these weekly deals, but then the app never works, and the people at the store don't use the app. They don't know anything about the app. It gets really old. I don't want to have to track down, and everyone does it because of, even me. I have perks and rewards for my own subscribers because it seems like you have to now because everyone's doing it. Like every fast food place has their own app where you get perks and rewards. You know, you got the Starbucks, you got the Dunkin' Donuts. You have every one of these places has their own perks and rewards app. I think CVS, Walgreens, you know, pharmacies have perks and rewards. Like who doesn't? It's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. They're just trying to get brand loyalty, is what it is. It's to keep their shareholders happy.
Yeah, it's to keep them coming back.
I don't really use a lot. I don't eat a lot of fast food. It's so bad for you. I don't know. I don't drink coffee, so I don't have Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know. I just don't eat a lot of fast food. I'm not inclined towards that stuff.
Well, those are just examples of these. Every store having an app nowadays.
No, I know, but I don't know. I'm not really. Let me look and see what apps I have. I only have apps for stuff like I eat Jimmy John's, but other than that, like the apps that I have Dion's. It's a local business, and the only reason I have Dion's is because I hate going there and ordering and sitting there waiting because they make their food fresh, and it takes a long time if you order at the store. So I just order on the app and then I go and pick it up. By the time I get there, it's ready.
I think it would be cool. I mean, speaking of cooking, I think it'd be cool to be able to do this for ourselves, where we already can gamify any task we want, but having some cool goggles that that we could like sort of pre-program, like what would be the incentive, right? Say working out or getting your yard work done or something would be like the task, and you could set up tasks and incentives for yourself. Like, okay, you get a scoop of ice cream, or maybe you know whatever, you get to stop and have a smoke or something. Like, you could do it for yourself. And with cooking, a lot of people don't like to cook, but you could these things would really help us. But then at the same time, all I can think about is down the road when it becomes a crutch. You know,
Yeah.
no one would know how to cook without their goggles, or and that's kind of that's a problem. Like, we find things that make life easier, but then we literally take away our ability to do those things from before. Like
Yep.
calculators. Look at calculators. We're never going to go back. We have calculators on multiple devices. I have 4 calculators in front of me. Um, that's just crazy. Why don't they have apps for adult entertainment locations? What do you mean locations? I'm sure they do, Chris. What are you talking about? I am sure they do.
I don't know.
Hey, Derek.
I don't. There. I'm not really. In order, I don't know. I'm not incentivized. Me personally, I'm not incentivized by things the way that a lot of people are. Like you might get me for a short term, but I don't know, when the novelty of it, or when it becomes like this is a waste, it's taking more time for me to do this than any utility that I'm getting out of it, then I just quit fucking with it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of was thinking about that recently. I kind of am similar, except I'm also thinking about the detriment that I could be causing. So, and I guess there's a lot of things you can think about this in, but when I think about how much time and effort I could be putting into social media, posting, replying. Over on X, they call it reply guy. People, they call it reply guy because that's a fast way to grow on X, is just going to big accounts and replying to them all day long. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I stop myself from going to those lengths, even though I know there's benefit to it. There's also a detriment to it, And if I think I'm not going to get, if I think the benefit doesn't outweigh enough of the cost, then cost benefit analysis. Um, and maybe that's just me being lazy, because sometimes there are things like editing. If I edited this episode into clips where you and I, maybe we got into it for 5 minutes and it was really a good clip, and we could cut that and make it. I know I could do that. I just don't, because it's for one thing, I made myself too many shows. Maybe I should have concentrated on just one, but I liked going live each day. I wanted to go live each day, and I wanted there to be a reason for it, not just to be live. So I was like, let me make a show. But now I'm like overloaded, so I don't even have the time to really work on each one. But I remind myself that I get something out of each show. I get something out of this discussion, and every show that I do, I learn something, I get something out of it, and so I'll just keep plugging. And maybe the editing would help, maybe the reply guy stuff would help, maybe I wouldn't be, or you or me wouldn't be good at the gamifying thing, because I push back against that a little bit, like the the over pushy salesman. Like
Yeah.
I that's not I'm like, that's how I am. I don't go to that kind of a I don't get sucked into that. That's why I don't like being that either. So when I try to tell people, go sign up at the indoorfarmer.locals.com, it's literally because I really, really think it's a much more beneficial than what you pay for. And I wouldn't sell it that hard if I didn't think so. And I wouldn't have, I would definitely not be selling it that hard if I didn't purposely make it that beneficial or that valuable. I used to be in sales. I did not like trying to get people, that are teetering on the edge to lean into the, okay, I'll go ahead and buy it. That gets so, that's so bad, especially when they can do without it. There's so many times where I was like, you don't have to have it today, but you better get it soon, or your car is not going to run very well much longer, or whatever. Hey, yeah, it's safe to go home on this, but it's probably not going to last much longer. And a lot of times that got me the sale, because I was honest with them, like, hey, you don't have to have it today, but you really do need it. I'll be honest with you. There were other people, their sales technique was, if you don't get this thing today, you'll die. You're going to die soon in this car. I heard that happen a couple times. I'm like, you don't have to lie to people to just get the business.
Yeah, I used to work at when I first got out of the military. I went to work. I sold rainbow vacuum cleaners. That lasted for 2 weeks. I hated that. I don't
Rainbow.
like
Okay.
that. But I worked at Dillard's department store, which is along the lines of Macy's and
I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
Nordstrom's and stuff
We
like
don't
that.
have one, but
Well, they're out in the Midwest, but anyway, I loved working there. I was really good at it. But I didn't sell people stuff. Like, I started out in children's, and they moved me into shoes because I'm just a good salesperson. Like, I'm natural at it, and I don't lie to people, and I'm not pushy or anything like that, but I'm just friendly and I talk to people. I just, have a gift of, I just have a gift, I guess, or I did. And now I'm less inclined to be around people, but I think that's more to do with the PTSD than anything.
mm.
But
Have you
but
ever had commission?
when they moved me into shoes, I worked on commission,
Isn't
and
that
I
insane?
made
Like your paycheck depends on you getting people to
well, it
buy stuff.
wasn't full
Sometimes they don't.
commission. It wasn't
Oh,
full
okay.
commission, so it was hourly plus a commission. But shit, I killed it.
That's how it was for me at Sears Auto, but it was only like $7 an hour plus commission. So I was making 11 or $12 an hour with the commission. So like most of my check was me hustling for that. And you had people that would steal your customer if you were your day off the next day, and they were there, and the customer comes in. Oh well, let me sell you some different tires. Those tires aren't any good that he was trying to sell you. Let me show you these other ones. And if they could get your customer to move to a different product, boom, it was their customer now. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem. Like my sales were, it wasn't like that. And we had a system like, say I had a lady that came in and she wanted a pair of shoes. And she'd be like, okay, and she'd try them on. She'd be like, okay, I want to hold them, and I'll pick them up today or, later on today or whatever. Then what we would do is we would put the shoes on hold and we would put like our sales number on the inside of the box of the shoe and hold it. And, we had a system, we had an honor system amongst ourselves. But I made really good money, and I wasn't pushy with the shoes or anything like that. I just was really I'm gifted at working with people, or I was gifted with working with people.
Very
And I
personable,
didn't
huh?
try to sell people shit that would hurt their feet or whatever. I took my time with my customers so that they walked out with shoes that were a good purchase for them rather than just buying these cool looking shoes, but they fucking kill your feet or they didn't fit your foot right or whatever.
I hated one thing I hated when I was in sales is they started to get these. We talked about it earlier, the rewards card or the credit card, and they started to every customer you're supposed to try and get them to do more and stuff, and that gets pretty old after a while.
Yeah.
But now we don't have that as much because your phone is listening to you, and it hears you say, well, I'm going to go to Sears soon, and then all of a sudden you're getting advertisements and deals for whatever it was you said. That happened to me the other day. I was looking at this website, Turtle Beach. They got headphones and stuff like that and keyboards, and I started seeing it on Facebook immediately afterwards. Like, well,
Yeah. I know. I see that. That happens to me too.
I'm not gonna lie. I would really enjoy. I used to work in a warehouse. I think having some goggles on that made it feel like I was in a video game where every time I grabbed a box for the next customer, it was like this big old coin came up, cha-ching, and there's a fireworks on my screen, bang, bang, you made your goal, and I could I could see that making you pumped, but then, like we said already, what happens when you start to that becomes a crutch? Then no one can work without it.
Well, the
That's the
thing
problem.
is that would fucking start annoying me after a while. It'd be like the novelty of it would wear off for me because I would be
Right.
like, what's the purpose of this? Like,
Well,
there's no.
you played some games, like you played Mafia Wars on Facebook, right?
Oh yeah, I've video gamed. I
That
have a
that
game.
addiction part of it is what they would be trying to feed you in your goggles during work. They'd be like,
You know
"Hey, you
what
get
the thing about Mafia Wars is it wasn't so much the game, it was what the game turned into. It turned into this like thing.
a whole like community and like a
It
culture
turned
behind it."
into like a whole fucking community, dude. Like I got into these big fighting families. Like I had a badass account and
Mafia Wars. I
and
played it for a little while. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, a lot of people did. But at first it was a particular way, but then it turned into these, I don't know, and we would go to war against these all these different families. Like I belonged to the elite hired guns. I was a death dealer.
Hulk smash.
Yeah, and then when I got even bigger, when my account got even bigger, then I joined Shizzle. And so there was like I was in with like these big league players, like these humongous accounts. And you didn't fuck with us because we were big accounts and we would get your ass if you fuck. But we would go to war. Like I remember we went to war against this group of people. They were from Indonesia. They were Indonesians. And oh, they were dirty fighters. But we would spend weeks warring with these motherfuckers. It was crazy.
I kind of had that in World of
Social.
Warcraft.
It was super social because, not only did you have the game, but, we had these chat rooms that were set up. It was all very, very organized. And shit, man, I met people from all over the world. I learned all kinds of fucking shit. Oh my God. I learned the funniest people are the Irish, the ones from Ireland, not American Irish. American Irish people are funny, but oh my God, they would have these fucking conversations and you didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
Yeah,
They're talking English, but they have their own little, they have like, you had to have an urban dictionary so that
I
you
have
knew.
a friend who's British, but he lives in Ireland, and we always say he's Irish because he sounds Irish, but he's there's a big difference between what he sounds like and what a real Irish person sounds like. Even
Yeah.
though he's not easy to understand either, but he's like this sort of mix
No, it
between the
isn't
two.
even their accent. Like, we're not communicating verbally, it's all like written.
Oh,
But I'm telling you, you had to have an urban
the way
dictionary.
they speak, yeah, yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
because they have these words that have different meanings. Like I do you know what a felcher is?
I've heard the term. I can't remember
Not
what it is.
Fletcher, felcher.
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
not a
They
good thing. Okay.
and they were calling each other, they were talking about felchers and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I couldn't find anywhere and they're like, look it up in the urban dictionary. And then I did, and I was like, oh my God, the shit that they would talk about, and you just like, I don't know, it was great. It was like, I learned, they're white people, they're from the mother country, if you're English or Irish or whatever. But fuck, the way that they talk, like, you don't have any clue what the hell they're talking about because the culture of their language over there is just like,
They're like when you verbally or on in text, they're using they will insult you with words that don't even feel insulting to you.
yeah.
Like they say a bunch of shit to you that's supposed to be insulting, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. But it was a big thing. It was cool. It was a great experience. I played for years. I literally played almost from the time that it started till the very last day when they closed the game down. It was sad. But but I played that game. I played video games. I have gaming systems here at the house. It's a Nintendo 64. I have a 64 system. And you want to talk about an addiction. So I got that damn game system for my son for Christmas or something one year. And it had, damn, which one was it? Super Mario. I don't remember which one it was, but it was the one that had the little fucking wizard in it. And so
Wizard.
I would get in there and I would play this game. When Taylor wasn't playing it, I would get on there and I would play it, which was every day. And I got in this one fucking castle and I could not figure out how to get past this wizard. And I started having nightmares.
Mario
Yeah, it was Mario. It was the one where it had,
Wizard. Yeah, yeah. He's teleporting around.
yes. And I could not figure out how to get through that fucking castle. And I started having nightmares. And I went, okay. And I put that game away and nobody was allowed to play it for about a month.
I
And
tell
then
you what. Go
I
ahead.
went to Hastings bookstore. Hastings, they had all kind is like a novelty store, and I got the cheat code manual to figure out how to get past that fucking castle.
Your sound just went out on Rumble, Chris. You'll have to leave and come back, I guess. Rumble might be having some problems tonight. There's only 3 people on Rumble. That is pretty unusual. So I appreciate you guys for coming in tonight. If anybody wants to get in the door prize, hit the like button, comment, tag some friends would be great. Come up. Who wants to come up? Nobody wants to talk about this stuff. This stuff is like cutting edge, but also stuff from our childhood. Like it's such a crazy topic because it's stuff that we did, as kids with, just to get through the chores, but also stuff that's like cutting edge technology like this here, where they are using augmented reality to transform the workplace, providing immersive, interactive training experiences, enhancing productivity, and improving safety. So I get that, improve safety, that's great. What happens when it makes people not even think about safety without it on? I just see it as being a crutch. People are going to have it on all the time. You're going to have to be people are going to want that neural link because hey, then I won't have to carry the glasses on my face all the time, Kim. It'll be right there. I won't have to like put it on or have to charge it at nighttime. It'll just be there in my head all the time.
I
So
don't,
people,
I like things. I like gizmos and gadgets and stuff that makes my life easier or things that are cool and, whatever. But ultimately, I like relying on my own abilities to do things rather than something else necessarily doing it for me.
I like, yeah, I agree. I mean, I kind of first thing came to my mind was the way that I'm over here building these different growing systems out of repurposed materials rather than going to buy this nice like put together system like the Tower Garden or whatever because
Yeah.
I want the knowledge and experience of putting that thing together without knowing like designing it, the plumbing aspect of these things, all of that without having to just like put it together using directions from the box.
Did you ever see the movie Independence Day
Yeah, I
with
was going
Will
to say the
Smith?
line, but yeah. This
The thing about that movie, I love that movie. I thought it was an awesome movie on so many levels. Like it had everything in it. But one of the things that really struck me about that was, everybody was out there living life, relying on technology and stuff like that. Those aliens came, they devastated the ability for, they devastated a lot of that stuff. And it's at the end of the movie when they're assembling, they figured out how to infiltrate their the alien system to take them down, which was to give them, they had to fly up in that broken spaceship and put a bomb and then get out of there. You know what I mean?
right.
And I just, you know, that's fantasy, sci-fi, whatever you want to call it. It's not reality. But the thing is it is reality because something can happen where we lose our technology. And if we lose our technology, everything that we have today will cease to exist as we know it. Like all of our electrical stuff, our water that we get to our house, our sewage, all of that stuff is hooked up to some kind of computerized system
Hmm.
somewhere. And we're fucked if something ever takes out our systems. If they ever drop one of those, what are they called? IMP bombs or EMP
P
or,
electromagnetic pulse.
yeah, EMP bomb. Um, we're fucked. Cell phones, well, if you have a satellite, maybe, I don't know.
Well, they've talked about that for years, but honestly, Kim, they don't even need to do that. Our infrastructure, our electrical grid is so like flawed
Yeah.
that a little an overload in the right place would probably, you know, like all it'd have to be is somewhere in like uh, Colorado or somewhere in the middle of the country, going across from California to the East Coast, at where our electrical grid crosses, and it'd be as simple as that. Like honestly, there's so many problems with the grid. Like if you get solar power and you're in like city limits, they almost force you to be in the grid as like a battery for the rest of the grid. So in that way, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe enough people are getting solar that it could help. But an EMP, to your point, would
Well,
definitely
it's
take
not
that
even
stuff
just
out.
an EMP. I mean, it's like there's so many things. There's natural disasters that happen, and it's just I don't know. It's just if you don't have people that know how to do things without technology, you're fucked. That's the survival person in me. That's um, the more libertarian side of me is being able to take care of myself and survive shit because I don't sit there and look that something bad's going to happen, but I know that something bad could happen because we have enemies out there. Shit happens. We have it's just like that whole Y2K. We were talking about it recently, like it was like, well, it's possible this, everything could crash. And if it does, people fucking go crazy. I mean, just look at what happened with the pandemic and toilet paper and everything else. People went fucking crazy,
Mhm.
and that's just how humans are, under pressure. So, I had a backup plan. It's like I knew where the hell I was going to go and I knew how I was going to do it. And, you know, I don't know how successful I would have been with any of it, but I think about stuff like that, and I like the ability to be able to take care of myself. That's why I garden.
I
You know,
can.
to be able
I
to
got to push
grow your
back a
own
little bit.
goddamn food.
You you're right that I think a majority of people definitely don't think enough about it. But with recent things, COVID and different wars and this and that, I'm pretty sure that a bigger percentage of people today than I would say pre-COVID are making those plans, like you said, or learning to be more sustainable, or something in that direction.
Southerners,
Moved out of
Southerners,
cities.
Southerners have been that way for a very, very long time. I think Southerners have probably always doomsday prepped since probably after the Civil War. I think the Civil War created
Southerners or
that.
rural communities.
I don't want to say rural communities, maybe more modern times rural because I don't know, but I know Southerners because I come from a family with with ties to the deep South, and I just know the culture within those groups of people, and my
Well,
people
cities are
aren't
different.
like,
That's why I say that cities are there's different
yeah,
culture
like my
inside cities.
family aren't a bunch of redneck kind of people. So, but Southerners, like their minds are towards that shit, and I think it's probably I don't know if it's the Civil War. I suspect that it's probably the Civil War, but it could be, those older cultures, those older early American cultures are more cognizant of the American Revolution than people that migrated west from those original colonies. And so I don't know if it's that or if it's the Civil War, but it's something along those
Hmm.
lines that made people, they're very much more aware of things. And uh,
You think Southerners are just more aware of things, or are they more connected to the basic ways of life, or the I think it's more rural, to be honest, Kim, because I can't. I keep thinking of southern cities as we talk about this. I would say rural communities are much closer to doing things the old-fashioned way a
well,
lot of times.
urban areas are different because,
What about the Amish? Would we flock to the Amish if the power went out? Everybody flock to the Amish. Help us, save us, tell us what to do, and we'll do it.
I don't know.
15.
It'd be kind of hard for somebody from New Mexico to get all the way over to Amish country. I mean, that's
Well, we're like
how
maybe
many thousands of
Mennonites.
miles away.
Are Mennonites against electricity too?
I don't know.
There's a few communities like that, but like there's also people out there in most communities that are like they'll go to like festivals or whatever, and they do old timey things like
You know what's
whatever it might be.
interesting? The last 10 years ish that I've noticed that I've really kind of paid attention, there's more of a movement to be more self sustaining. I think that's,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was just saying. Like people are
yeah,
more moving that direction.
yeah. I think there's a big push for that. And I think a lot of that is the libertarian.
Well, also people leaving cities at this about the same time. People had to leave cities for COVID. They
No,
had to work. They started working
this
remotely.
predates COVID.
Yeah, I mean for sure. I mean, I would say probably around the Tea Party explosion, or maybe a little before that, because you had what you had Glenn Beck selling gold line, gold, 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 gold for like ever, and then you had Ben Shapiro selling gold, 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 and then there's like a whole bunch of them do, and then there was a bunch of them selling uh, survival food. Different companies that sell like buy your chest of, you know.
Yeah, but you know what was interesting was there were a lot of people that were building bunkers on their property.
That's a little more recent, but still like within the last 10 years. But rich
It's
people,
not
almost
really
all
as
rich people are doing it.
it's not really as recent as you think it is. Like it just wasn't something that was really discussed much.
Well, let's look it up. But before we do, let me just finish this. I like some of this thread here. It says, moreover, AR can enhance employee engagement and retention by offering personalized and immersive training experiences. That is gamifying your job right there. The approach not only makes learning more engaging, but also helps employees apply their knowledge more efficiently or effectively in real world situations. Really? It helps you in real world situations, huh? Overall, this is talking about AR though. AR is proving to be a valuable tool in the modern workplace, offering numerous benefits in terms of training, productivity, and safety as technology continues to evolve, and its application in the workplace are expected to expand further. Yeah, I think it is, but then again, I think it's going to go to a point where you just have to have it. You won't be able to not have it. Be like a cell phone or something. Okay, so Kim, we were talking about rich people who. This is what it comes up with. I was making lineups for the game night, but I had to ask it so many questions to try and get anything close to what I needed. Okay, let's see. What? Let's see. Which rich people, wealthy people, I guess, people have recently built underground bunkers? Recent reports suggest that several wealthy individuals, including Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, and Jeff Bezos, have been associated with the construction of underground bunkers. These projects are often linked to concerns about global instability, with Zuckerberg reportedly building a $270 million bunker in Hawaii. Now, speaking of Zuckerberg, though, before I go on, uh, people like Zuckerberg and Bezos, like they have strict rules for their own kids to not even be looking at screens at all.
Yeah, because they know that it's
Well, they might know even stuff that we don't, and I would expect at least something. But
Well,
There
it's
might be
just like,
something even more sinister to it, like a hypnosis to it. Go ahead.
well, it's just like I'm sure that people that manufacture alcohol or um, cigarettes or things like that. Like I'm sure that they've got
Cheers,
strict
Ronaldo.
rules for their own kids because they know it's like this is how we make our money. But
Yeah, it says Teal planning a bunker in New Zealand and Bezos owning land on the same Hawaiian island where bunkers have been loaded. So, so like Bezos' bunker is right next to Zuckerberg. They're like bunk buddies.
bunker.
However specific, Bunkerberg. However specific details and confirmation will vary, and much of this information comes from media speculation or planning documents. So it should be treated as inconclusive. Interest in such bunkers has also been noted among other high-profile figures, but concrete evidence is limited.
Let me tell you something. I think
I mean,
that the idea of bunkers came about during the original war with Iraq. I think is when people started thinking about stuff like that.
I don't know. I mean, it was definitely termed before that, but maybe you're right. I mean,
No, but
we were
I think that people, because I know that I wished that I had the ability to have a bunker or build a bunker back in the 90s, especially with Y2K. That was one of the first things that crossed my mind was, okay, if we have this Y2K thing, how can I get land? How can I build a bunker underground?
well, didn't World War II also? A lot of people were building shelter. They called them bomb shelters.
Could be. I mean, bomb shelters.
There was a whole movie about it.
I don't know
Uh,
about World War II. I don't know about World War II, but I know that the bomb shelter, the whole concept of bomb shelters became a thing, when the potential for nuclear war and fallout for that.
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I
That
think it
was
was.
after World War II, but the whole idea, that's when you started seeing, that's when people started building bunkers here. You might have had an oddball here and there building bunkers, but I promise you,
The Cold War.
that's when it started becoming popular.
The Cold War. That makes more sense.
Yeah, the Cold War.
50s and 60s, as the threat
Mhm.
of nuclear
World War
conflict between
II.
the United States and Soviet Union grew, the U.S. government promoted their construction through initiatives like the 1950s Duck and Cover campaign and this 1961 Fallout Shelter program, leading to widespread backyard and public shelter buildings. But I think when we went after bin Laden, we started like there was more talk about like caves and bunkers and like hidden in like mountains and stuff like that. Now with the advent of Starlink, you're going to see more people than ever have access to high speed internet, which I think is going to make a personally, I think it's going to make a profound change in the world. And we were close to it already. We've had a pretty big change with the internet, I'd say, at least in the first world, and even probably in the whole world, but definitely in the first world. And once everybody has access to that, it's going to be similar to when the printing press first started printing the Bible. And once you don't think so? You think that access to the Bible being printed, mass printed by the printing press, basically was the boom for the Enlightenment, where more people had access to the ability to read than ever.
Actually, the Bible, when it was first printed, he made like, I don't know, it was like a couple hundred copies, and there was no distribution for that kind of stuff, so it didn't go anywhere. It wasn't until um, Gutenberg's, after he died, and some of his, I don't know, people that had apprenticed for him or followers or whatever you want to call them, took it out into the world, and it
Yeah,
started.
but they were because of the yeah. It's all it was. Snowball
Well, it
effect.
is. He is recognized as being the, but the problem is that there was no distribution center for printed media at the time. It wasn't, that had to be developed in order for that to become successful, in order for there to be dissemination of printed information.
I mean, maybe, but honestly, I
No,
can't
it's a
imagine
fact.
that.
I
Well, hold on. You're
I,
going to tell me there wasn't a distribution of anything at the time? Like you couldn't have said, "Hey, take this with you when you take your pelts to freaking wherever. Take this with you."
what
You're going to tell
what
me that wasn't?
what year was the printing press developed?
I don't know. I'm sure I could find out in the 1300s or some shit. Let me guess, or let me not guess. But I'm saying that I think it could have been done. But to your point, he just had them sitting there and nobody took them anywhere until
Well,
he died. I guess.
you have to remember that the printing press is going to be developed. The age of exploration, there just wasn't a lot of exploration. There's a lot of things that had to develop with transportation in order for that stuff to get disseminated.
Oh, I don't disagree. The printing press was invented by Jonas Gutenberg around 1440. I was 100 years off
Yeah.
in
And
Mainz,
the age of
Germany.
exploration didn't start happening until, I don't know, it was in its infantile stages. Like I want to say like it was after that. I can't remember exactly. But even then, the exploration that was happening where people were sailing out into the ocean, that's going to take, whew,
I don't know how to
going to
spell.
be like around the time that Columbus is doing that. People were terrified to go out on the water. They were, the waters were terrifying, and they didn't have ships. They had to create the technology for ships not to be torn apart in the ocean. And that's going to
Completed
come about with Prince Henry the Navigator. He didn't create it. He was a prince. He, was pretty much the money and the brains behind all of that stuff developing. But Gutenberg is not. It's going to take time after he dies.
after printing the Bible around 1455. He sold copies to fund his work. The actual dissemination was handled by others, including booksellers and the church. His
Yeah.
innovation enabled mass production and subsequent printers and distributors. And
But
yeah, that's exactly
he
what
died
happened.
penniless because he couldn't sell. He couldn't make any money off of it.
So goes a lot of inventors, unfortunately.
And I want to say it was Venice. It was his, um, people
Come
that
on
had
up, Elisa.
purchased under him took it to Venice, I want to say, because Venice was during the Renaissance. Venice was a huge merchant port. It was a place where, on the Mediterranean Sea, it was a hub. And so that's, they took the printing press there. I don't know if it was exactly his printing press. I can't remember exactly, but they took the ideas of the printing press there, and that's where it became successful because they had a distribution center. They could get them out on the ships that would come in to Venice and dock. And most captains back in those days were literate. So I don't know. It was just the system had to develop.
I know, but I'm not sure. Like my point still stands, though, that there was a okay. I'm not saying it was a week. I'm talking about that was a period of time when there was a big boom in non-educated people learning how to read.
Yeah. It's going to take a long while for that to happen, though, for people to become educated. Because
Well,
where,
but I'm saying with the internet, though, it'll be a little faster. I'm pretty sure because
oh
there are
yeah,
translations and there are video versus having to read or learn how to read.
but
So
the biggest problem with the internet is determining what's good information and what's bad information. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
dilemma that
true.
we have with.
But if it comes to like maybe looking at how to make a like a water filter, or like somewhere in the third world where they could learn how to cook food healthier and stuff like that, I think simple things like that will still be a net positive for sure.
Oh, I agree. But what happens if we don't have electricity?
Are you thinking the whole world is going to get with become or go
I
without?
don't know. I mean, you don't know what the future holds, dude. Like,
Okay, now you're talking my language though. I've been talking about this magnetosphere thing where people are talking
well,
about the Earth
it
tipping
doesn't
like this.
necessarily mean the magnetosphere. We could get hit by a freaking asteroid like the one that killed the dinosaurs. We could have a
Well,
catastrophic
that's
volcanic eruption that throws us into an
that's
ice
going to
age
kill
that
most of
kills
us
off
though, Kim. That's different
all
than
kinds of
losing
shit off.
electricity.
Well, but you just don't know.
I
We
agree.
could
We
have, we
talked.
could have another plague. I mean, look at what COVID did. Like, COVID had that potential. That's why it scared the shit out of so many people. Because we know historically that stuff happens. We had the bubonic plague that killed 30% of Europe. I don't know what
Some of
it
that
did to the
those
rest of the
plagues
world.
are coming back in our homeless encampments from all the rats.
Well, not just the rats, but people
Well,
aren't vaccinating and all kinds of stuff.
well, that's beside. That's how there's no bubonic plague vaccination. I don't think.
No, but there's measles, and measles kills, and it'll
That's
be
not a
not too
plague
long
though. There
before
there is a literal
smallpox.
plague, like the
There,
Black Plague or something. It's literally coming back in within rats in our
a
homeless
plague's a
encampments.
plague's a plague. It doesn't matter. It could be a plague of fucking locusts.
All
Nobody
right.
talks
Do
about
we have to
plague.
look
So
up the word plague? I'm
plague's a
talking.
plague's a
I'm
plague.
talking about the known plague of the either I think it's the Black Plague or the bubonic plague, or maybe that's
Bubonic
the same
plague.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
they
we
said
have,
they found
we
it.
have we have cases of the plague here in my state every year. I think it's usually in the summertime. But so you don't know what's going to hit. I mean, that's one of the things. I've always been interested. I've followed epidemiology off and on, not like crazy about it, but like I pay attention to what epidemiologists are doing because that's their field, that's their interest. They're always looking for what's out there that's going to potentially be another bubonic plague incident. And right now, the biggest thing they're concerned with, other than COVID, for a long time, they've been concerned about the bird flu because the bird flu has the potential of being just as deadly as what the bubonic plague was. So, you don't know what it's going to be. Who would have thought would
Yeah, but
and do what
okay,
it did?
but let's rein it back into the topic here and say that that was we talked about earlier, but that's one of the worries I have with us getting too so reliant on technology is that not
Yeah,
that we don't know how to do anything without it, but that we putting it more and more in our face, like having it on goggles or having it in the Neuralink, that is going to do nothing but make it feel like you're missing something when it's not there. Just like when our phone isn't with us, we already feel that. Hey Johnny, you have to unmute and turn your camera on, but you're in the back. I see you. Um, but
so
yeah, I feel like that. But real quick though, I want to. I think I was talking about it earlier, but there's those people that go to different festivals and things like that, crafts festivals. That that's their whole shtick is that they keep alive some of those old ways. So you're
yeah,
gonna have people at an old festival writing on paper, like this is what we used to write on paper.
yeah, those crazy,
Johnny Paradise in the house.
crazy old motherfuckers that like I don't know that are hippies and witches or whatever that we look at sideways in society. And
Yeah,
these keepers, they're the sages. They're the
they'll be
ones.
like they'll be like this was a cell phone in the early 20th century or the early 21st century, and like kids would be like, what, it wasn't implanted in your brain when you were 6 months old. So Johnny and I had a good conversation earlier on his podcast. Shouts out, check
Yeah.
him out.
What's going on? Am I live?
We're live.
One, two,
Been
one.
live for an hour and a half. In fact, I need to do the wheel while we're hanging out and getting you in here.
Hello, everybody in Radio Land.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slow night out there on the interwebs, but I'm not sweating it. We're all
You're
chilling.
out for 4th of July stuff, so
Probably, or the people that may or may not be in the People in the Boxes chat deciding to go live at the same time as me. I don't know.
yeah, I don't
He's
know.
probably not live anymore anyway. I can stop talking shit. Okay, let me go over here and check the numbers while we chat. So let's wrap this topic into Johnny's world and say, what do you think about? I mean, you've probably had conversations about Neuralink, haven't you?
Listen, what I want to talk about is you're right. We do got to be afraid of, these vaccines. The vaccine started the Spanish flu. You know that? That's what a lot of people theorize. When you look into
Really?
it, it seems to hold water. The bubonic plague you bring up, is that something they made up, or is that even real? I don't even know. I'm
I'll
so
find
sick
out.
of the government at this point that these guys are making viruses in labs. We know they made COVID. Who went to jail for that? Now we're supposed to trust them to lock us down again, force DNA changing shots on us.
How do you spell plague?
I don't know. The Bible warns about it. It says, "Come out of Babylon, so you don't share in her plagues." And Babylon sounds like Hollywood, doesn't it? I don't know, man. I don't know if
The
LA.
Black Death is what they're saying. I don't know what the bubonic plague, if that was real or not.
The bubonic plague is
How do you
the
spell
same
it?
thing as Black Death. Bubonic?
Oh, same thing. Okay, that's what
Yeah,
I
they're
see
the
here.
same
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
There's another name for it. It's the Latin scientific name, and God, I don't even know what that is. But what it does is it turns you black. That's why they call it the Black Death.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a nasty infection.
Do you dance better and jump out? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. We'll find out.
I'm just kidding.
Let
No,
us know. Give us blow by blow details of that.
So that was the mid 14th century. But yeah, go ahead, Johnny. I think you're on a
And
point
that
here.
they surmised that the origins of it were out of Asia, and that people brought the fleas back from their journeys on the Silk Road.
Yeah. Well, we know COVID came from a lab, and
Well, actually, COVID did not come from a lab. The
Huh?
strain of COVID, because COVID has been around for a very, very long
Oh,
time.
right. The term for respiratory
Yeah.
virus, more or less.
Well, it's a particular kind of, but this particular strain did. It was, I don't know what they were doing with it, but yeah, it came out of Wuhan.
right.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what-
coronavirus has been around for a while. SARS, this COVID-2, SARS-CoV-2, it really is just like SARS, except they added the HIV spike protein to it.
Well, remember we dropped the 19. It was COVID-19. Everyone kind of dropped it, right? Say COVID.
Well, that's
now.
because that was I don't know, it's
Strain of
mutated
it.
now, so it's beyond
Yeah, that's
19. I don't know where we're
Delta,
at now.
Alpha,
It just
whatever,
changed
Beta.
again. There's a new strain of it out again. It's mutated into some other, I don't know. So
You got me
what
looking up
viruses
the plague.
do.
Yeah, so we definitely can't trust things like Neuralink when we can't even be like, you can't really be sovereign on the internet anymore. You can't even be safe on the internet, whether that's a government or some creepo. But there's really no privacy on the internet, so I can't imagine Neuralink offering any privacy, right?
I sure as hell don't want somebody implanting some shit in my brain.
Well, but it's kind of like a snowball effect, though, Kim. Like, think about your cell phones. imagine like your grandparents probably were like, I don't want no doodad box that I have to stare at all day long, and like they would probably have a similar reaction. And generations go by and it just keeps getting. But the reason I bring it up, Johnny, is the Neuralink is probably going to be the ultimate version of what we're talking about today: augmented reality and gamifying like your job or something. Now we talked earlier. I don't know how much of this you listened to, but the we talked earlier, like the simple things, like as a kid, you might have gamified your chores. Like, hey, let me see how many of, how many of these I can get done in the next, so in 1 hour or something. And you do something to incentivize yourself to make, to work harder, to be, more efficient or something. But companies are doing that with like these like AR goggles now, and all of your cell phone apps do that with gamifying things, making things look like, oh, you got points, you won points in this. I have this app that teaches me other languages called Duolingo, and that's gamified. Oh, you leveled up. What are you being leveled up? I'm trying to learn a language. Like I didn't level up. I just they're just trying to get me to come back more for the dopamine, right? So I was talking to you earlier on some angles as far as farming goes, and I feel like that could be pretty cool. Gamifying you're out in the field working, and every time you pick another pepper or something, ka-ching, and it's hitting you with a little dopamine. But then what happens? Like Kim was saying, what happens when there's no electricity or the thing has to be shut off that day? Are you gonna just feel like, what is this? Real life? Like I don't know. I could see it working to our benefit, but then really not. So then we kind of got into old timey things like what happens if technology doesn't work anymore, and like because I was saying there's people at old like Renaissance fairs and stuff that keep alive some of those old techniques. I bet you've been around a place or two that's gotten like old machinery or old techniques of doing stuff, like Amish people.
Man, I love your dog you got there. Look at him. How old is that guy?
About 12 weeks, 13 weeks now. I have to look at to find out. Are you a dog guy? Are you an animal lover? See,
Oh, you know it.
you could gamify taking your dog out and picking up the shit. It'd be like cha-ching, and your your goggles, and you're like, I just won a reward. I get to go home and get a cookie or something. Like
You know what my reward is for picking up dog shit is not smelling dog shit in my backyard when I go sit out there and enjoy it.
I got this cool thing that I don't even have to bend down. It's like it's got handles that I squeeze, and it just opens this claw, picks it up, and I can pick it. But his little Tootsie Rolls don't need to go anywhere, do they? Oh yeah, I forgot I'm doing this wheel.
My dogs
Yeah,
don't have Tootsie Rolls. They have turd piles.
turd piles.
Yeah.
That's it's good. It's good. Nitrates. All right.
Well, that's a little Shih Tzu. You'd think for a little dog like he is that his turds would be little dog turds, but he doesn't have little dog turds.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm still thinking about this gamified thing. I think that companies are going to do this because it's going to increase productivity, but they're just going to create a whole workforce of people that are idiots that just have to follow what it says on their screen. And I mean, we kind of have that already. Like, look at the way fast food is so set up, like a assembly line kind of now. The way they do that, they try to set it up to where it's foolproof almost. And I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't necessarily create smarter workers. I don't think.
No, no
Do you
critical.
think? Do you think the whole gamify dynamic is really just taking advantage of the fact that maybe the original game was like 10 in the garden? You do it just the right way, you get a real nice meal
Yeah,
night
you
after
get the
night.
reward. Yeah,
Right.
This is them trying to speed up that reward. That's why people will play video games of a simulation of a task that they wouldn't do in real life. Like they might kids now are playing the simulation of farming. They're playing a farming simulator game because they're getting those rewards a lot quicker, and it's just boom, hitting the dopamine, hitting the dopamine. And so you're not wrong. Gamifying is just literally creating incentives that make you more motivated to do something. And it's so artificial, but it's still it could be. I could see it being a good thing. It's just that I feel like I can totally see this going down a bad path. It's people being too reliant.
I had this student that he was a really smart kid. He had autism, and he was really smart, and you didn't get much work out of him in the classroom because you just didn't. But he would sit there and he would listen and whatever. There were ways that I assessed him. But this kid was obsessed with games, like bad. And he played these games to earn like trinkets in the game. And it was like, and I was, it just always made me curious. It's like, I don't know, like you couldn't do anything with that shit except use it in the game. So what was the purpose of it?
You're getting an artificial feeling of accomplishment,
Exactly. It's like, what good is
but you
that?
still feel it though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well,
Just like masturbation or
he was
getting
addicted
drunk.
as fuck to that shit.
You escape reality and get to for me video games was always used to be an escape from reality. I guess not as a kid, but as I was a more of an adult and still playing pretty like regularly, it was a way for me to not have to think about my crappy life, at the time. And you just can focus so hardcore on something else that you can forget about everything else. um, Okay, we got number 11 as our last winner for the week over on locals. But yeah, I think gaming in general, and actually it's funny because adults, the casino, think about the way the casino is. That's the ultimate gamify your gambling because there used to be casinos that weren't so lit up like that, the old school like Western, like Poker House or whatever. But then they just kept getting more and more and more lights in your face and dopamine everywhere, free liquor, and it's just like literal trying to get you to just spill your money out. It's just all it is. Crazy. Oh, Emily. Okay, Emily won this time. Um, yeah. Well, what do you, Johnny? Have you ever? What do you like with technology? Have you play video games ever? Were you ever like a console gamer or anything?
Yeah, in my younger days, I used to do that, but man, it just does seem like such a waste of time, doesn't it?
It is, but at the same time, I did see benefit in like the skill that you could hone a skill of like your hand-eye coordination and timing, and there's like decision making and prioritizing and stuff. But you can get all that stuff in real life too, can't you?
Right.
Guys, I'm putting everybody on the list for the door prize. Krill, I typed Krill, not Chris. Um, yeah, we got about 15 minutes left. Honestly, I know this is kind of an off topic, really, but they can't all be super intense. Last week we talked about the end of the world. I thought we can do something a little lighter this week. I mean, we
Oh,
still kind of
really?
dipped back into it a little bit tonight.
And how light was it?
I mean, it still sounded pretty bleak with the fact that people are losing the ability to do things. Like that's why I like writing in this notebook. I'm like I get to remember how to write, keep that alive, and it just takes a few generations, and we've completely stopped doing different things that we used to do, like math and stuff. Just just crazy. Like Think about farming, Johnny, when there is so much AI and robotics and drones within farming that people don't know how to actually uh, do the work without that stuff. And we already probably have that with plows. I don't know how many major farmers could like suddenly go back to plowing with oxen. You know, like how many or not plowing, but yeah, the plow. Honestly, though, I like I don't I like the idea of no plow or no till growing, but I don't know if we could do that on a mass scale yet.
You aren't going to plow a field with an oxen on a mass scale either.
Well, that's how they did it.
Mm, yeah, not on these big commercial farms like we have
Not the
now.
same size, but it would probably take hundreds of a few 100,000 more farmers then at that point. Okay, let me remember these people. We got Ronaldo, Joe Orzel, Margaret Jet, Jess Rosebud, and Chris. I think I got everybody. Make sure here. Ronaldo was looked at as spam this time. Ronaldo, here, I'll make sure I follow you just so it doesn't show you up as spam. Well, thanks for the retweet, brother. Appreciate that. All right, that's everybody from X and Rumble and locals. Oh, Joe Orzel on locals. I see you. I'll or till deer food plot. What? I do till deer food plot. Interesting. No, oh, you know till deer food plot. Okay. Was there any reason for that? Deer food plot is just to feed the deer. I've been having a rough one. You have to watch what, Chris? Hope you're okay. All right, guys. If you're on Facebook, I'm about to go get all the likes off of the Facebook. Um, Thanks for coming up, Johnny. We should do more conversations about health and wellness. I think on people in the boxes, if we can, if and when we can get you on, I think that's a good idea. Uh, is there anything that you got coming up that you want to throw out there? Anything that you want people to go follow you on X at Johnny Paradise or no? What is it? Plant Paradise?
I just wanted to say, the magnetosphere, man. So were you guys talking about the
I
crank?
brought it up, man. I keep talking about it. They say it's gonna the whole planet is gonna flip 90 degrees within like a 24-hour period, and that's gonna make Florida the equator, and it's gonna fuck with our weather and probably throw our electricity, if not shut it all off all of a sudden. Go ahead. What do you know about it?
They talk about it creating some crazy flooding and crazy tidal waves, right? And wiping out
Mm-hmm.
people that maybe you'd want to be up in the mountains somewhere in a bunker. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think that Kim was talking about this, and we kind of talked about it last week as well. But
Yep.
there is this sort of reset that happens with our planet, and I think it doesn't kill all people because the planet has so many nooks and crannies to hide in. So you end up with this small group of people, and they're probably going to be spread out. So you'll end up with small groups of people all over the planet. Which what does that do? That creates different races and different cultures. And when it builds back up again, thousands of years later, it's suddenly you're warring tribes again, and it just becomes a big old cycle. Anyway, I'm rambling. Go ahead. Okay, there's all the people from the Foos book. I'm even going to put Johnny on the wheel for coming up on screen. Appreciate it, man.
what, dude? We got a wheel going. Oh man, I'm fired up, man. What's the prize this time?
If you win, you get a game night ticket,
Hey
which gets you into game night. You won't have to be there. It's fun to watch, but you get to a chance to win up to or from a list of 20 prizes every Sunday.
Okay, so we got Plumber Blue down there talking about the Earth is sentient. When it gets fleas, she scratches. So they say that this event that we're talking about is once every 12,000 year event that the poles flip, and that we're due, and that it's happening. That we see that the poles are moving, and that they're moving kind of faster and faster, and that that you said 24 hours. Yeah, I mean, at some point it really all happens, I guess. But they say it's like maybe 100-year process, and maybe we're like 100 years into it, so it could happen all real quick.
Hmm.
But
That's just the theory I saw, was that it's supposed to happen within a day or something. Maybe somebody saw some legend about it. I don't remember what it was. I think it was watching Rogan. I'm not sure. Um, but what they said was that this happens on a galactic scale, where the center does this flip that then sends these waves out that makes the planets do a flip, and it also pulls the planet out of the magnetic protection from the galactic center, not just our planet's magnetosphere, but I guess we're inside of a protective layer right now that keeps a whole bunch of debris and stuff away from us.
wow, that's interesting. You said so. I hadn't heard that before. So did you say it comes from the galaxy, like the Milky Way makes maybe all the stars and all the planets flip?
Let's see if I can find anything on Grok about it. But yeah, that was just the interpretation that I heard someone talking about. Hey
Wow.
Andrew, what's up, man? Thanks for coming in. Um, Tell me the theory of the magnetic poles shifting uh, pertaining to the galactic center flip. Theory linking magnetic pole shift to the galactic center flip is not a widely accepted scientific concept, but rather a speculative hypothesis that has emerged in some fringe discussions. So, wow, they really don't want me to think about this, including posts from found on X suggest that Earth's magnetic pole reversals might be influenced by a broader galactic scale magnetic event, specifically tied to the galactic center, presumably that the supermassive black hole in the Milky Way's core, or the galaxy's magnetic field structure. Idea posts that or posits that or a galactic current sheet. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The theoretical plane of magnetic and charged particles extended from the galactic center could periodically interact with the solar system as it oscillates above and below the galactic plane. Uh, Proponents claim that interactions occurring roughly every 11 to 12,000 years might trigger a flip in Earth's magnetic field by disrupting the dynamo process in its molten core. This is loosely compared to the sun's 11-year magnetic cycle. 11, it just says 11-year, not 11,000, which involves a polarity reversal, suggesting a scaled up galactic rhythm. Keeps going, but I'm not going to read it all. Anyway, it's fun to think about these things. To your points, though, Kim, I don't think that we ever get busted down to zero. I think, and maybe the dinosaurs thought that too. But what do we have? We have dinosaurs today. We still have plenty of dinosaur species today that are just adapted for our current climate. Mostly they shrank, and I think some of that is due to the loss in carbon, the carbon drought that our planet is in the middle of. We had much bigger animals, and hell, we might have had bigger people back then. There's a lot of stories that seem fairly reasonable about giants that were 10 feet tall or whatever.
Well,
Um,
people are starting to get tall. People
yeah,
are,
people are getting bigger, but we're also we have this different ranges. You have this short, the little people, they like to be called, I guess.
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna start this wheel. Good luck, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Kind of a slow pre Independence Day night, but hope everyone has a safe day tomorrow. I'm hearing lots of booms already in the distance.
It's a sad night for animals.
You know what? I thought I was worried about that because of my puppy. He doesn't seem to give a shit.
Well, yeah, but go to your local animal shelter and see how fast it fills up on for the times whenever they shoot off fireworks.
You mean like stray animals, or
No, not just stray animals.
they run off from their
Yeah, animals
homes?
are terrified of them.
Hmm.
The shelter like fills up exponentially 4th of July and New Year's. The reason I know is because I do a lot of work with rescue stuff.
Can't wait to see game night. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's right, Andrew. You got a game night ticket, didn't you? Did I not write that down? Andrew, can you remind me who gave you the game night ticket? Because I did forget to write that down. Was it country? Was it country boy? Let me know. Doesn't have to be right this second. But MJ, are you here, girl? Where you at? Oh, hey, Bean sent me a $1 Rumble rant. Thank you, Bean. Appreciate that, man. We have 17 people watching live right now. Appreciate you guys coming in. Margaret is here. Yes. Congrats, Margaret. Margaret, what do you have now? 300 of these? Uh, Margaret has 31 indoor farmer coupons. 31. Well, she plans to give some away when her group gets up to 420 members. So if you haven't joined Margaret's group, if you're into lovely baked goods and getting into sometimes bidding for them, then go check it out. MJ's Baked Goods on Facebook. Uh, yeah, I didn't see that, Bean. Thanks. I'll leave that up for a minute. I wish Rumble would give me a campaign tonight, but they're not going to do it for some reason. I haven't had one for a couple of days. Oh well. Uh, yeah, we got 3 minutes. So yeah, what anybody have any ideas for next week? Any thoughts on a topic for next week in the comments? Comment below. Tell me what y'all think.
I
Kim,
think we should talk about immigration.
you really want to go there? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I don't. Okay, let me just set up some stipulations here. I want to see if we're gonna go there, and if we start arguing about facts of things, we're gonna have to start looking things up. I'm gonna look things up, and we're gonna have to have you looking things up too, because there's plenty of times where I know something is true, but I cannot find where the information is, and so I will yield. I'll be like, okay, I won't say that I'm wrong, but I'll say I can't find it, so I'm not going to argue that point. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's try to take it point by point, whatever we come up with, and let's do it for real. Like, let's bring up what it is you. First of all, we're going to have to find out what it is you hope to, like, what your end goal looks like. What is your finish line look like, and whatever the topic is, and what does mine look like, and whoever else is on. I don't know if Johnny likes the immigration topic or not, but it is pretty hot right now, and, like, no pun intended. But it definitely is worth talking about. There's a lot going on. I brought it up already, and I'll just say it now before we do it next week. I think it's pretty. It's sending a wrong message the way some of the way that they're doing it now. Although it could be a hell of a deterrent, and we'll see how it plays out in the future. But just these videos that are coming out about construction workers scattering and stuff like that. I saw this video from TikTok. The guy was recording all of his fellow workers all running away when ICE showed up, and then it cut to them all in the truck, like 12 guys in this truck that was way overloaded, and they're all running from the cops and literally running red lights, like could have just killed tons of people and just somehow got out. Like, that's you know
Terrified.
yeah, but I'm not giving anybody a
And you
pass
know
for
what the
acting
thing
like that.
is that they aren't just detaining illegals, they're detaining anybody that looks Mexican that they
That's not just looks. It's that they think if you
know.
can get swept up in it, yes. And there are situations where they've already said they were wrong, and they can they can
Yeah, but
correct, but
the thing is
it's going to
that people
happen.
don't want to go through that. It's terrifying. It's like,
It's going to make people leave
no,
on
I
their
know
own.
I'm here legally, but they don't care. They're going to sweep me up anyway, and there's a potential that I'm going to get deported along with the rest of everybody. There's
Yeah.
a lot
Well,
of
let's
ignorance
we'll get
about
into it. We'll get into it next week. Let's do it. We'll do immigration next week, and maybe we can hell, maybe I can find some other learned people on X or anywhere that want to come and join us because it'd be fun to get some more takes on it. I don't know if any of our stoner friends that are going to want to get in on that conversation. Um, but we got a week to talk about it. So yeah, I'd like to come up with a topic ahead of time and not the day before, like I do have to sometimes. So, but yeah, it actually has a lot of impact to do with farming and stuff like that. So Johnny, you're welcome, of course. Obviously, no big deal either way. Kim and I will just do it our by our, I was gonna do it by myself tonight. Kim luckily came in. Kim, you don't need to talk about it, but I hope everything you said everything's not okay. But yeah, hope that works out.
Yeah, I don't
And
know. We'll see. My
well,
patience with things is comes and
if you're sorry, real quick, if you're watching on locals, you probably are about to get shut off on local side. As we're over the 2 hour mark. 4 people over there right now. We're about to close down anyway, but if you're over there, you're about to get shut off anyway. So Johnny, thanks again, man. Everybody go follow him. What Plant Paradise, right? At Plant Paradise on X.
Yeah, Plant Paradise number
Yeah,
7. I just wanted to
number
say
seven.
about the immigration thing, right? Yeah, it would be good to get like a panel where you had people on different sides of the issue. I thought we were all conservatives and kind of would feel kind of similar about it, but it sounds like
We
Kim's.
have some differing opinions on a lot of
well,
things up here. So
don't judge me. You don't know where I stand. I probably have more conservative views on immigration than 99% of the people in the United States. We'll just put it that
okay,
way.
I'm interested to find out. Well, let's tune in next week, Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. All right, guys. I'll probably head over to locals in a little bit. I got to go put my son to bed. He's probably passed out upstairs playing video games. Summer break and all. They'll put him to bed, and I'll probably head over for a private session on locals for a little
Are you
while.
saying you've got him gamified?
I think about that all the time. Actually, this actually bears to stay on for a couple seconds because I think about it all the time. Do I do the whole thing that people say? Oh, they just plop a iPad in front of their kid and walk away. Like,
I'm
okay, excuse
fucking.
me, but my it is true that my son likes video games and or likes to watch TV. I don't play him TV. I play specific things that I'm okay with. Now, whether that's good or bad, that's up to someone else to judge. It's good. Okay, it's good for me as far as the content goes. It's like Zumu is this one, like he likes animals and stuff like that, learning about stuff. So I do take note of what he watches. I try to, I maintain a control over what he's doing. I don't. He doesn't have a cell phone. He doesn't even have a tablet. He has a Nintendo Switch. He gets to play these classic games, Mario and stuff that I don't think is, gonna rot his brain. But he also has autism, and autism has been shown. They have been shown to see a link between children with autism and a more digital world. Like they have some sort of a more deeper connection to technology, in a way that I'm not sure how to articulate. But not that I think that means I should immerse him in it, because he also loves to read. He just I'll just catch him in his room in his bed reading, and that's wonderful. And also using the video games, a lot of times they have words, and he would have asked me to read it, and I'd make him sound it out and make him read it and use it as a tool for learning. Um, but then again, there are times when I have to walk away. So what am I supposed to do? Like say, okay, I need you to draw. Like the kid draws a million pictures. I have a stack of pictures drawn by this kid that's like this tall. So I don't know what other like real life activities I would make him do while I'm busy working somewhere away from where he's at. You know what I mean? And so I struggle with that because I don't think that I do it to a detriment, because I actually really I go above and beyond to be present with him because my parents were the kind of parents like mom, 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 mom,
You got
mom,
you got
mom,
your dog's attention.
right? Well, I'd be like, just hear me out for a second, you know. And from with my son, I will at least stop and say, I'm busy right now. Give me a second. I will acknowledge him. And when he's playing video games, I'm talking to him, and then I play with him too. I don't know. That's a whole nother rant, but I I think I am doing it all right now. Could I have kept him away from all screens and shut off screens for myself too while I was at it? Probably, but I also grew up with all this stuff. I grew up on TV. I'm probably an example of the what not to do, putting screens in front of your kid. I could recite, you know, I used to be able to recite the entire Ninja Turtles movie, the original Ninja Turtles movie. I could say the line before they said it, you know. Um, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I do relate to TV and pop culture and stuff like that, movies. And that's how I related to people for a long time. And even today, I make movie references all the time. Do I think that's good or bad? I don't know. I think I turned out all right. I have plenty of problems, but I feel like it's up to the parents to be able to navigate the technology with kids. It's really hard to just, or it's really easy to just, they say, let TV be the babysitter. Well, I'm with him a lot of the time too. I'm not with him every second of the day. So there's that time when I'm like, I'll be back in a little bit. I'm taking care of some things in the garden or whatever. And, you know, you can play on the Switch or something. I don't know. I'm probably sounding defensive, but you're not wrong. It's something to think about as parents. Now we don't all have the luxury of people like Zuckerberg to be able to keep screens away from their kids. Like that's I don't know how I can't imagine Zuckerberg spending 18 hours a day with his kid, you know? Like what's the kid doing when he's not around? He probably have like tutors and a whole bunch of friends. Obviously, those kids probably have tons of friends. Come on over and play basketball in my indoor court or whatever, you know? Like there's probably tons of stuff to do. I can't imagine they wouldn't have technology though as rich kids parent rich people's kids. Anyway, I'm rambling. We're gonna get going, but yeah, does that satisfy your question though? Like, are you talking about that whole trope of like letting technology be the babysitter? You know?
Who, me?
Yeah. Is that what you brought up?
No, I was
This is
fucking
your
with you.
well, no, but you're not wrong. It's a
I
pretty
was
fairly
fucking with
common
you.
topic these days
I
with
was fucking with you because it's like we sat here and we talked about gamifying things, and then you turn around and make this comment about going to get your son off of video games or something like that. And it was just,
it was aptly timed, but it was still you're still hitting a topic that we should have discussed a little bit more deeply. We did a little bit, I think, but
and then
my
you take off and you go to Mars. You're out
well,
there
see,
in
it
Mars.
wasn't that hard to follow. Come on now,
No,
it
I
was a
know, but
real.
like it wasn't my intention for you to go
All right. It was an
off.
8 minute rant. I took us an 8 minute too long. That's all right. Anyway, you guys have a good weekend. I will be back on Sunday for game day, game night all day.
Say,
I got to create a new game. I don't even know what it's going to be. I have no idea. I'm actually thinking about the Indoor Farmer Jeopardy.
oh, that'd be kind of cool.
That's a lot of work, though, on my
Hey,
part. If
this is
only I
the
had some help.
this is the
Huh?
vicious cat.
Isn't that all cats?
No, this is the cat that I adopted because they were going to euthanize him because he's a vicious cat. And you just got to know how to love things so that they're not vicious.
Uh, Bro, my dog has little puppy talons that I haven't gotten cut, but his sisters are so sharp. I feel bad for my mom. She's wearing, it's summertime. She's wearing long sleeves and pants around the house because that dog just is just chewing her up. She's got an appointment for grooming, but anyway, I'm rambling. Anyway, let's go. Hey, Kayla, I saw you coming. We're about to leave.
Is the
What's
dog
that?
jumping
I
on
meant like slicing her up with her paws because she's jumping nonstop, jumping up on like your shins and your. I have a big old scratch on my leg from her.
You guys need to train her since she's not doing that.
I'm not with her. That's my mom. My mom doesn't train dogs. She just loves them.
Well,
She doesn't. She's always got the yipers and the, just unruly tiny dogs. That's all she always. That's what she does. No training, no sit, no nothing.
I just bought a shock collar for my dog. My dog, she's a pretty good dog. My Weimaraner, she's smart. She's a good dog, but sometimes she doesn't.
You bought a shock collar?
I did.
Oh my God! Did you do it yourself on your own neck?
I just got it, so I haven't. It's charging over there.
That
but
is shock.
It doesn't just shock. It's got different levels and there's different things. So the recommendation,
whatever you set it on,
vibrating is the vibrating thing.
Those are the rules. Whatever you set it on, you have to try it on yourself first. Live on People in the Boxes next week.
Fuck that.
Come on. You'd be like.
Could you imagine it being like could you imagine it being like a taser?
I saw what movie was that? There was a movie where he does that. He was like he tries real quietly to bark. It just hits him really hard.
Well, considering I don't have all that fur on my neck.
Kayla, I am going to go to locals in just a little bit. I have to go up and check on the kids and stuff. I have a dog house guest this weekend, a red golden retriever who's just a giant horse that's like very bull in a china shop. I mean, this dog knows how to hit me right in the nuts with his big old paw, man. It's crazy. Yeah, I'll be over there in a little bit.
Do you know why it's a golden retriever that's red?
It's a genetic thing.
Because they're bred with Irish setters are in their bloodline, so it must have genetically thrown that Irish setter for it to have their red coat.
You know what I like are German shepherds that are all black or all white. It's a genetic defect, but they're so cool.
Yeah, I like the black ones. The white ones I'm not so much, but the black ones I really like.
Well, that sounds. No, we won't go there. All right, we'll see you all next week, guys. We're gonna talk.
Have a safe 4th of July.
Yeah, you too, Kim. We'll see you. Maybe you can play Sunday if you're bored. Some Jeopardy. It'll be fun. I think I'm gonna throw in some facts about our sponsors and some growing questions and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. Johnny, we'll see you later, brother. Appreciate it, guys. Remember, everybody's got to eat. Hit that like button. And we'll see you Sunday or over on Locals here in a few minutes. Peace.
Yeah, this is for my green thumbs in the game. Wailing the indoor farmer. Check my name. Sustainability, we about to reclaim. This is how we do it, keep it in the frame. I'm Waylon the farmer, the indoor king. Living off the grid, what the city can't bring. Got my hydro setup, my LED lights. Growing all my greens, all through the night. Self-sustain, that's the mission. Growing my own, I'm not missing. Indoor farming, the hustle's real. Waylon's here, and he's